Some relationships do not end with tears. They end with police tape, shattered families, and questions that haunt everyone left behind. Sometimes the person smiling beside you in a photograph is quietly building a storm that no one else can see. This is the chilling story of Samodi Fonsek, a woman whose name became linked with obsession, manipulation, and a tragedy that forever changed the lives of everyone around her. While this story is inspired by themes found in true crime, it is presented as a dramatic documentary-style narrative for storytelling purposes. Before we begin, if you believe that kindness is stronger than hatred and that people deserve second chances when they choose the right path, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Real Feel Story Hub. Your support helps us continue bringing emotional and thought-provoking stories to people around the world. Samodi Fonsek appeared to have everything many people wished for. She was intelligent, attractive, confident, and knew exactly how to make a powerful first impression. Friends often described her as charming and unforgettable, someone who could light up an entire room with her smile. But those who spent enough time with her slowly discovered another side, one hidden beneath the surface. Her emotions shifted like violent storms. One moment she was deeply affectionate, making the people she loved feel like the center of her universe. The next moment she became suspicious, possessive, and consumed by fears that existed only inside her own mind. Few understood that what looked like passionate love was slowly becoming dangerous obsession. When Samodi met Daniel, a hard-working young professional trying to build a peaceful future, their relationship moved faster than anyone expected. Daniel had always believed in seeing the best in people. He admired Samodi's confidence and interpreted her intense affection as genuine love. At first, everything seemed perfect. She constantly wanted to be with him, surprised him with thoughtful gifts, and promised a future filled with happiness. His family believed he had finally found someone who truly cared for him. Even Daniel himself ignored the small warning signs because they were hidden behind beautiful moments and emotional apologies. The first cracks appeared quietly. Samodi became uncomfortable whenever Daniel spent time with friends or visited his family without her. She constantly checked his phone, questioned every message, and imagined betrayal where none existed. If Daniel was delayed by only a few minutes after work, dozens of missed calls and frantic messages waited for him. She demanded explanations for ordinary events, convincing herself that every innocent coincidence was evidence of secret lies. Daniel tried to reassure her with patience and understanding, believing love could heal insecurity. Instead, every reassurance seemed to feed her fears even more. As weeks became months, Daniel's world grew smaller. His closest friends noticed he rarely answered invitations anymore. Family gatherings became uncomfortable because Samodi insisted on accompanying him everywhere, watching every interaction with suspicious eyes. She criticized anyone who spoke kindly to Daniel, believing everyone wanted to take him away from her. What began as jealousy slowly transformed into complete emotional control. Daniel convinced himself that relationships required sacrifice, never realizing he was sacrificing pieces of his own identity. Behind closed doors, emotional pressure became constant. Samodi alternated between overwhelming affection and devastating emotional attacks. After every argument came heartfelt apologies, promises to change, and emotional moments that made Daniel believe the worst was finally over. Yet every cycle returned stronger than before. It became impossible to predict which version of Samodi he would meet each day. Her unpredictable behavior left Daniel emotionally exhausted, trapped between hope and fear. People often ask why victims remain in relationships that clearly become unhealthy. The answer is rarely simple. Daniel remembered the woman he first fell in love with and believed she still existed beneath the anger and suspicion. He carried hope that enough patience, enough understanding, and enough love could somehow restore the person he once knew. That hope became the chain keeping him trapped. The situation reached another level when Samodi began following Daniel without his knowledge. She appeared outside his workplace, watched him from nearby cafes, and questioned strangers she believed had spoken to him. She memorized his daily routine with frightening precision. Every unexpected encounter increased Daniel's growing anxiety. He no longer felt safe in places that once brought comfort. The line between love and surveillance had completely disappeared. Eventually, Daniel made the painful decision to end the relationship. It was not an easy choice. He still cared about Samodi and worried about her emotional well-being. He tried to end things respectfully, hoping time apart would allow both of them to heal. Instead, the breakup became the beginning of an even darker chapter. Samodi refused to accept that the relationship was over. She flooded his phone with endless messages, appeared unexpectedly at places he visited, and convinced herself that if she fought hard enough, Daniel would return. Friends urged Daniel to seek legal protection, but he hesitated. He feared making the situation worse and believed things would eventually calm down. Many victims share the same hope, believing time alone will solve dangerous behavior. Sadly, reality often follows a different path. As the weeks passed, Samodi's actions became increasingly unpredictable. She created false stories about Daniel, attempted to damage his reputation, and manipulated mutual acquaintances into believing she was the true victim. Some people believed her emotional accounts because they had never witnessed the frightening side of her personality. Daniel suddenly found himself defending truths that should never have required explanation. Emotional abuse was slowly expanding into public humiliation. Investigators would later describe the situation as a classic escalation pattern. Warning signs had existed long before the final tragedy. Isolation, emotional manipulation, obsessive monitoring, and refusal to accept rejection formed a dangerous sequence recognized in many high-risk relationships. Looking back, every small incident appeared like another piece of a puzzle leading toward disaster. One rainy evening, Daniel disappeared after leaving work. At first, everyone believed he had simply gone somewhere to clear his mind. Hours became an entire night, and concern quickly transformed into panic. His family contacted authorities while friends searched every place he normally visited. The silence felt unbearable. Every passing hour deepened the fear that something terrible had happened. The investigation uncovered disturbing evidence that pointed toward careful planning rather than emotional impulse. Security footage, digital records, and witness statements slowly revealed a timeline filled with obsession, stalking, and calculated decisions. Detectives worked tirelessly, connecting seemingly unrelated details until a heartbreaking picture emerged. The person Daniel had once trusted most had allegedly become the greatest threat to his safety. News of the case spread rapidly through communities and social media. People struggled to understand how a relationship that began with affection could descend into unimaginable darkness. Families everywhere started difficult conversations about emotional abuse, possessive behavior, and the importance of recognizing warning signs before they become irreversible. Experts reminded the public that violence often grows from patterns ignored for far too long. Daniel's family faced unimaginable grief. Birthdays became painful reminders of empty chairs. Holiday celebrations carried silent tears instead of joyful laughter. His parents replayed old memories repeatedly, wondering whether they had missed opportunities to protect their son. Friends remembered his kindness, his quiet humor, and his willingness to help others even during his own struggles. Their greatest pain came from knowing he had suffered largely in silence because he believed things would somehow improve. The courtroom proceedings attracted enormous public attention. Every piece of evidence painted a clearer picture of obsession replacing reason. Investigators explained how controlling behavior, emotional dependency, and refusal to accept rejection gradually evolved into criminal actions with devastating consequences. The trial was not only about determining responsibility but also about exposing the dangerous warning signs hidden inside toxic relationships that society too often dismisses as ordinary jealousy. Beyond legal arguments, the case left an important lesson. Healthy love never demands complete control over another person's life. Real affection respects freedom, trust, personal space, and emotional safety. When someone isolates their partner, constantly monitors them, or treats rejection as betrayal deserving punishment, those behaviors should never be romanticized. They are warning signals requiring immediate attention and support. The tragedy inspired many organizations and counselors to encourage victims of emotional abuse to seek help earlier. Friends were reminded to take concerns seriously instead of dismissing possessive behavior as proof of love. Families learned the importance of listening without judgment when someone quietly admits they feel trapped inside a relationship. Sometimes one supportive conversation can become the first step toward safety. As time passed, Daniel's memory continued to inspire others. Scholarships, awareness campaigns, and community discussions honored not only the life he lost but also the lessons his story could teach future generations. Although nothing could erase the heartbreak his loved ones carried, they hoped his story might prevent another family from experiencing the same unbearable pain. Before we reach the end of this documentary-style story, we have one heartfelt request. Please leave a comment below and tell us one lesson you believe everyone should remember before entering a relationship. Your words may encourage someone who is silently facing emotional abuse to seek the help they deserve. Stories like this remind us that appearances can be dangerously misleading. The brightest smiles sometimes hide overwhelming emotional chaos, while the quietest victims often carry invisible burdens nobody notices until it is too late. Love should never require fear, constant anxiety, or surrendering your peace of mind. Real love protects. Real love respects. Real love never destroys the person it claims to cherish. If this story touched your heart, opened your eyes, or reminded you of the importance of recognizing unhealthy relationships before they become tragedies, please support this video by liking it, sharing it with others, leaving your thoughts in the comments, and subscribing to Real Feel Story Hub. Your engagement helps these powerful stories reach more people, creating awareness that may one day save a life. Sometimes the greatest justice we can offer those whose lives ended too soon is to learn from their stories. Every warning sign recognized, every conversation started, and every person encouraged to seek help becomes another chance to prevent heartbreak before it becomes another true crime headline. That is the legacy every meaningful story hopes to leave behind.